So of many of these messages, at least personally to me, I think the most important message which I felt very much when I thought about Kishkinda Kanda is the importance of having the right company. You call it friendship, you call it as satsanga, whichever way you want to call it. I think that, in terms of friends and well-wishers and acquaintances, and I keep saying these bandavaha, relatives, there is a reason why God has put a few people together into a family. To me, it's a very it has a trace of several janmas. I mean, we can fight it out, we can all that we can do, which many of us, we are emotionally we keep doing it. But even to put so many people into a family as brothers and sisters, and that's not a by. I mean, it's a very long trace of. There must be a reason why these people are put together into a single, you know, social family, or whichever way you want to call it. All these are to be understood because they are not happening by accident. They are not happening by roll of a die. I think there is a divine providence into all that. So there is a reason why when a soul takes a janma, that soul is taken through that janma with a certain. It introduces only a certain people. It introduces a certain people at a certain time. So we have to understand all these have meaning. All these have implications in life. I think that message in actually comes up by seeing the story that has been going through. So to me, I think that is the most important takeaway from Kishkinda Kandam. How do we pray to the Lord? Because we can pray for many things to the Lord, for riches, for health, and so on. I think this is the top of the agenda. We should pray to the Lord for giving us this right company. If at all we are blessed with the right set of people around us, I think the Janma Sapalya, what this soul is supposed to do in this Janma will happen. I think that's, to me, is the top of the line prayer. If I look at Krishna, that's what comes to me again and again. That thinking comes to me very strongly. Because I talked about company and friendship and so on, I pulled some shlokas on these. I thought I would share some of those which are very contextually, since I was talking, before we look at the actual shlokas from Bala Ramayana. Of course, the start of Viveka Chudamani says that, although it is one of the magnum opus on Vedanta and all that, what is Shankaracharya saying here? Durlabam trayim eva etat trayam eva etat devanugraha hetukam manushyatvam mumukshatvam mahapurusha samshaya. So Durlabam, he says it is very hard. It is very hard for people to get three things. Trayam, etat are in line 2. He's pointing to that. These three are Durlabam. And he says, Deva Anugraha Hetukam Eva. This you will get only when you are blessed by the Lord. That's why I'm saying that the kind of people whom we get to know, the kind of people who come into our vicinity, work life, social life, or in our family life, is a blessing of the Lord. Actually, it's actually the blessing of the Lord. It is not we are not given a choice to pick here and there. It's a blessing of the Lord. It's why Deva Anugraha Hetukam Eva Trayim Etat Manushyatvam. Of course, this is the Vedanta Grantha that says Mumukshutvam, the desire to liberate from this endless circle of samsara. So, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Marana. Janma, Jara, Vyadhi, Marana. This cycle, the desire to come out of it. I am tired of it. How do I come out of it? That feeling has to come. Then Mahapurusha Samshaya. So in a Vedanta context, a guru, a proper guru. But in a materialistic life, what I am saying is the right company, the right kind of people around us is very, very important. So in Viveka Chudamani, although at the beginning he has made this statement, even before he got into any of those 577 more shlokas are there after this. But in the third shloka he has said, this is indeed rare. So it's very important that we must make good use of what we are and what we have and so on. Of course, in Bhaja Govindam also he he brought it. Sasangatve Nisangatvam, Nisangatve Nirmohatvam, Nirmohatve Nischalatatvam, and Nischalatatve Jivan Mukti. So it all starts with Satsanga. Satsanga is, I think, Satsanga is, in a chemical process. We use a word called catalyst. The definition of a catalyst is it will not react. It will not get into the reaction, but it will accelerate the process. It will not change the compound and its chemical properties. It will accelerate the process. It will make the process faster. That is the idea of a catalyst. It is not intended primarily to get the desired change in the chemical composition. That's not what for a catalyst is used. Catalyst is used for accelerating the process. So a satsanga and a guru is like a catalyst. They play a role which we do not know what role they play, but they do play a role. And that role is more of catalyzing. So that satsanga only brings the nisangatva, as he says here. And that brings the nirmohatva. And that's the only way we can, get this mumukshutva. That's what in Bhajagovindam, Shankaracharya talks about the good company, which is actually a blessing. In fact, in Subhashita Ratna Bhandakara, there are hundreds on just, Maitri Bhava and friendship and so on. Yes, I took a few of them just to. This is a very nice shloka. You just see, all these I took from Subhash Ratna Bhandakara. He says, Santaptayasi samstitasya payaso namapi na jnayate muktakarataya tadeva nalini patrastitam rajate swatyam sagara shukti madhyapatitam sanmauktikam jayate. There are three things told here very nicely. First line says, Santaptayasi. Tapta, it's all, take a boiling plate, dosa plate, let us say, the boiling plate. It's all boiling. In that, if you put a drop of water, the common thing is drop of water. On the three lines, the common thing is drop of water only. You put a drop of water in a red hot plate, he says, Namapi najñayate. Payasaha namapi. Because no time it evaporates. That's all. We don't know what happened to the water. You don't even know the name. Because it landed on a hot plate. So first line talks about the same drop of water. Payasaha namapi najñayate. We don't even know. Before we think about it, it is evaporated. Look at the second. It says, Nalini patrastitam. If the same drop of water is on a lotus leaf, right? Rajate. It shines like a pearl. We have seen it, no? The water after rain, if you go and see, particularly Nalini patra, this thing, lotus leaf, it's very shining. It's like a pearl. So that's what he says. Muktakarataya. Just like a pearl, it is shining. Tadeva, the same drop of water, the drop of water is the same. But it did not land on a boiling plate. It landed on a lotus leaf. Since it landed on a lotus leaf, it is shining like a muktika. Right? He says, Muktakarataya tadeva nalini patrastitam rajate. But the same drop of water on a Swati Nakshatra day, right? Swati Muktya is what they say, no? On the Swati Nakshatra, the same drop of water gets into the shell, it becomes Muktika. Sakshat Muktika. That's what the third line says. Swatyam. Swati Nakshatra Dine. Swatyam Sagara Shukti. Madhya Patitam. The shell in the ocean. Shukti. Sagara Shukti Madhya Patitam. Sanmauktikam Jayate. It's a high quality pearl. Same drop of water. He is giving three examples. So the last line says, Prayena Uttama Madhyama Adama Dasha. So it is Uttama Dasha or Madhyama Dasha or Adama Dasha. And how did it happen? Because of its company. So nicely they are bringing an idea in a very nice way that the same drop of water became nameless, non-entity in no time. It pretended to be shining at least. It actually became pearl. Like that, it is nice. The importance of the company that we keep. decides who we are. Mahajanasya samsargah kasya na unnati karakah nonnati karakah. Right? Padmapatra Stitam Toyam Datte Mukta Palash. Same idea in a different way. It says, if you get into the right company, who said it will not take you to Unnati? Just like this water which fell on the lotus leaf, it got a stature of looking like a pearl. The previous sloka only, it's a different way it is coming. So it says, Padmapatra Stitam Toyam Datte Mukta Palashyam. It gives that feeling of mukta because it fell on the. Whereas there is a reverse shloka also. Aho durjana samsargat mahahanihi pade pade. Every moment, pade pade. Pade pade manahanihi. Insult can happen. The example he gives is Pavakaha lokasangena mudgaihi abhitadyate. You take the gold is implicit here. You take the gold, it says you take the gold in the company of an anvil and a heart, this thing and the hammer, the gold will be beaten and beaten and beaten and made into a thin sheet or whatever the goldsmith wants. Every moment it is deformed and it is shaped differently. And that is the example that is being given here. It says, Pavakaha lokasangena, the combination of fire, loka, and mudgara is hammer, mudgaraihi abhitadyate. Gold should never get into this company. If gold gets into this company, it will be beaten. That's what it is saying. So it's a pair of contrasting sort of shlokas. Of course, who is a friend? It's a very important message to understand. It's a nice Subhashita. We have been talking about friend, but then it puts friend at a very conceptual level. It says, Vidya Mitram Pravaseshu. When you are in Pravasa, going around, your knowledge is your friend. That keeps you, protects you. Bharya Mitram Griheshu cha. The wife is the friend at home. Vyadhitasya aushadam. For a disease, meaning to get rid of the disease, the friend is aushadam. And he says, Dharmo Mitram Mritasya cha. This is the fundamental, existential belief for us. What we carry with us is not the riches that we gathered through the Janma. What we carried with us is not the bank balance. Not all that we fought with others and got this house, this land, that, farmland, this 80-50 plot and nothing. What we carry with us is the dharma. That's why it says, Mritasya dharmo mitra. That's why dharma is the important purushartha and artha and kama must be in consonance and aligned to the drive of dharma. Because what we carry after we die is only, one of my friend, he once gave a talk and he also wrote. He's a, very senior person in Southern Railways. So he says all the other things are perishable. He uses the word perishables. So he says all your material riches, all your money that you earned, fame that you earned, knowledge that you earned, everything he says is perishable. He says what is non-perishable is what dharma, that and what samskara. The dharma actually shows in terms of the vasana and the samskaras. What is dharma? What is the proxy for dharma? Dharma is not something which you carry in a bag. You carry in this stula sharira, linga sharira, not even in the sukshma sharira. It is the linga sharira. The bag is the linga sharira. So he says the only non-perishable is the dharma. So he keeps asking, and he gives some time talk, he keeps asking, the question we need to ask is, after the person has died, when is he getting, who is serving him is the next breakfast and the dinner and the lunch? He keeps asking that, where will this soul get its breakfast and dinner and, lunch? He says all those are part of this dharma that we carry. When he keeps saying, he says this is only non-perishable. The rest are all perishable in life. But then, in life, for whatever reasons, at a very ordinary level of our understanding, we attach a lot of importance for perishables, which looks very, at one level, it doesn't look much sense. But we endear a lot for perishables. Non-perishables, ideally we should be actually endearing for non-perishables, but it looks like in a very ordinary life that we all lead, we are so much driven by going after perishables and trying to do something about it. So dharma is only non-perishable. In Niti Shataka, it's a nice shloka. It says, Aramba Gurvi Kshayini Kramena. So in the beginning it is very Gambira and long and all that. But over time it starts shrinking. Some friendship is like that. That's what he uses actually. Aramba Gurvi Kshayini Kramena. But there is another one. Lagvi Pura. Aramba, earlier it was simple, small, like that. Okay, Lagvi Pura Vriddhimati cha Paschat. But it keeps on growing. And the example he gives is the shadow in the forenoon and the afternoon. The second line beautifully says, he uses the shadow that happens to us in the forenoon and the afternoon. He says in the forenoon, the shadow is long, and by 12 o'clock, it becomes a point. The shadow shrinks. In the afternoon, the shadow is small. It keeps growing. So he uses that in the second line. He says, Dinasya Purvarda Pararda. Purvarda first half, Pararda second half. So Janasya Purvarda Pararda Bhinna Chaya Iva Maitri Kala Sajjanana. Respectively. See, whenever in Sanskrit they use like this, the respectively is automatically understood. So the Kala means it is for the first description. Sajjananam is for the second description. You can't take it the other way. That's a paddhati. That's a normal rule. So the bad friendship starts with a lot of, they become, they say, this thing and the flesh, they say, like nail and the flesh. But after 3 months, they do mukha darshana evana bhavati. That's a kala maitri bhava. Sajjananam starts slowly, steadily, it grows, and it thickens, it becomes deeper. So that's what Niti Shataka, he uses the shadow as an example to actually say how these two types of friendship, because we find both friendships actually in life. So Chanakya Niti says, Parokshe Karyahantaram, Pratyakshe Priyavadinam. Lots of people are like this. Parokshe Karyahantaram, Pratyakshe Priyavadinam. In front of you, they are so nice to you, and then you think, oh, what a lovely person. That side of say, this fellow, he is such a bad fellow. He is all the time doing these kinds of things. So, Parokshe Karyahantaram, and he will do things to scuttle what you are doing. That's what Chanakya, Chanakya knows that he is looking at it from that angle. So he says, Parokshe Karyahantaram Pratyakshe Priyavadinam Varjaye Tadrisham Mitram Vishakumbam Payomukam. If you develop such friends in your life, it is like one drop of poison in a big, kumbha of milk. That's what he says. Varjaye Tadrisham Mitram. If you if you don't understand your friends properly and get into these kinds of things, Vishakumbam Payomukam. Just like this milk, a vessel full of milk having introduced one drop of poison. It's a matter of time, it's all over. Chanakya's. Then one from Kishkinda Kandam before we get into Kishkinda Kandam. I'll just use one shloka. It says, Sarvata Sukaram Mitram Dushkaram Paripalanam Anityatvacha Chittanam Preetir Alpeti Bidhyate. There's a very important, this is the charm of Valmiki. Valmiki, this is really the stamp of Valmiki. Valmiki, when he is telling the story, he will bring something. This is, when this is in 32nd Sarga, in 32nd Sarga, Lakshmana comes and then shouts at Sugriva. 31st Sarga. So Sugriva doesn't understand what is going on here. Why is Lakshmana so furious? Because he is reveling in enjoyment now. He has forgotten his promise. He is reveling in enjoyment. That's what power, fame, and riches I was talking about. So Tara is there and Hanuman is there. They're all there. So at that time, Sugriva is making a point. Sugriva was saying, getting friendship is easy. This is a Lokaniti. Valmiki is known for it. He is talking about a Lokaniti here. He is talking about a worldly principle of life. What is he saying? Sarvata Sukaram Mitram. It's easy to get friends. I mean, you meet them in a railway platform, you exchange card, finished. Then WhatsApp will start, then finished. So friendship started. So he says, Sarvata Sukaram Mitram, Dushkaram Paripalanam. But because he said, what has happened? Why is Lakshmana angry? Instead of answering that question, Valmiki brings one life principle in between. This is what Valmiki does. He is putting one sloka now. He say, what is he saying? He is saying, please understand. It's easy to get friends. But to stay with good friends, maintain a good friendship is a lifetime effort. That's what the point he is making here. He is saying, Sarvata Sukaram Mitram, Dushkaram Paripalanam. But the reason he says is very interesting. Look at the reason he is saying. It's a very thing that we have to understand. He says, Anityatvat. There is this fickleness. Nityatva nasti. Anityatvat. Anityatvat of what? Chittana. He says, our mind is so fickle, I will start suspecting. You would have made a very casual statement. You would not have even had any intention of that angle, but you would have made a statement. Then my mind's job is only this. No, my mind will only constantly evaluate, are you genuine? Do you have real, this is one of the job of the mind. Valmiki is bringing that. He says, this is what will happen when you try to, earn friendship. You are in judgmental mode. The mind is quite often in a judgmental mode. That's the point he is bringing here. So he is saying, Anityatvacha chittanam pritiye alpe. It tears open that and the genuinity with which I thought you are a friend, I will start with one hairline crack. The mind will find an opportunity to develop a hairline crack in the friendship. That's why he says, Dushkaram Paripalana. And mind keeps doing it now. It watches every action and then comes with a judgment and says, this fellow, I thought he is a nice friend, but he is not. Because he is not doing what I think is be good. Like that. So that is what, this is a Lokaniti. It has nothing to do with the story. The storyline grows. This is what happens in Valmiki Ramayana. When he keeps narrating a story, in between he brings certain thoughts for us to actually reflect on, because this is what will happen finally. So like that he has inserted quite a bit. So we are going from second sarga onwards, we will see many of these kind of slokas rather than the story.